Welcome to Grow Up, Level Up, Sunset Selects, where this week we are answering the age-old question: is Overwatch worth playing in the year 2026? Welcome. I am your host, Samson, aka Samson XP, and joined to me to answer this quest on this journey is Sir Dr. JM. Welcome to Grow Up, Level Up, Sunset Selects. Jordan.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I wasn't sure if you were going to say more, so I was giving you a sec, and then you didn't. So there was a bit of an awkward pause there, but I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to talk about our topic today.
Our topic today, that is, if you didn't catch it 10 seconds ago when we started recording, is Overwatch good again? 26. Now, for those out of the loop, Overwatch had a big spotlight last week, and they more or less rebooted for the second time their whole game by removing the 2 and going back to just Overwatch.
That's right.
And as two fans of Overwatch who have been fans of Overwatch for almost 10 years at this point, this is I'm clapping for that. Good job, Blizzard.
Yeah.
Good job. We did it.
Finally
we fixed
came to your senses.
Overwatch. Yeah, exactly. Of course, I know it's easy to harp on them. So crazy, so much development hell. They want to do 2, and then they didn't do the thing that justified a 2, and now they're removing the 2. We get it, okay? We've been there.
But is the 2 justified now? That's the real question.
That's the hilarious thing. Well, we'll get into that. The answer is yes, ironically. But we'll get into that. For those who don't know, yes, Overwatch dropped a huge update, the biggest update since, I guess, they transitioned to a free-to-play model, since they changed their name and announced like there's a new game director in place. This is pretty much their third coming out party. Yeah. And it's like kind of a new jumping off point for a lot of folks. Shout out to the French tip design Cameron for learning Overwatch this week. Crazy. There's so much stuff. We'll get into that later, but there's so interesting watching someone who never played Overwatch try to learn this game that has transformed, like double its hero roster since it launched. But first of all, if you didn't watch our previous Should You Play Overwatch 2 in 2025 episode, which was just under a year ago, May 23rd, 2025. If you want to go back to that, Jordan and I already kind of went through our history with Overwatch and kind of our thoughts on, at the time, the big update was Stadium.
That's right.
If you want to come over to YouTube, you can check out our baby faces from back then. Is Overwatch 2 in 2025 good?
Oh my God.
That's us.
What was
You're
I
wearing
thinking?
almost the same outfit. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what the funny part is?
That's
with me.
So am I.
I am, in fact, wearing that same hoodie.
Okay.
Just underneath another shirt.
A hoodie under a jersey, dang.
Yeah, that's right.
It's cold. I'm wearing like the green version of my Pathfinder's hoodie too. So that's ironic. Anyways.
That's funny.
In that episode, we went over like, is this game worth playing? At the time, they were still doing updates. It was still trucking along. But the overall public sentiment of the game was like, it's one of them shooters. It's one of them. And you could argue it still is in this year, in 2026. But I would argue it's one of the pillars of the big hero shooters around now. By pillars, I mean things like Deadlock. It's pretty huge right now. It has a huge passionate community. Apex, of course. I still think Apex is a lot bigger. Fortnite is a titan. We're not going to go there. But I would argue Overwatch is up there, and they have some pretty steady momentum. If you don't know Jordan and I's history with Overwatch, I started playing Overwatch in the beta in like 2015. I got into one of the closed betas, followed the Overwatch League all the way through, and then kind of fell off when the Overwatch League ended. I would say I started falling off in like 2024. So I had spent about a year out of the 10 years not really playing Overwatch. Jordan, how about you? What's your history of Overwatch? And I guess, like, did you fall off? Has it always been in your rotation?
Yeah. I mean, a brief history of Overwatch for me. First time I played was in one of the open betas, of course, as a mostly console gamer. I just noticed my hat has a thread coming on. Anyways, as a console gamer, I did not get into any of the closed betas, but they had a free beta weekend on PlayStation and Xbox and stuff. And of course, that was long before the days of crossplay. So there were separate betas. But anyways, so I got into that, really enjoyed it. And then when the game came out, I actually didn't get it until I think that holiday season. Just got it on sale or something on a holiday sale. And That's kind of when I fell in love with it. Pretty much became my constant game, my everyday game, my I'm always coming back to it game. Overwatch League came and I didn't really get into it until 20 it was not the first season. It was
2019, I think.
2019, I
Yeah,
think.
the
Yeah.
second year.
Yeah, and it was even partway through. We're about a quarter way through the season because I missed when Vancouver was actually the winningest team. I got in just as they started to, have their decline there, but they were still, top of their game for all intents and purposes. So, anyways, and then yeah, I stuck with it until the Overwatch League collapsed. I went to the final grand finals. Of course, I have much of the memorabilia on my wall behind me. That's where I got this jersey in person at the event in Toronto. And then I think I followed the OWCS and still kind of kept up with most of Overwatch for the first season for sure. And then after the first season ended, the second season, I would jump in every now and then. I'd watch the finals, like the big tournaments and stuff like that. But I was kind of falling off of it then, and I wasn't really playing much. So when we did our episode about Stadium last year, that was probably the first time I'd really jumped back in a while. And I did like Stadium. It was a really interesting new way to play, and kind of seeing it develop over the past, I guess, year or so has been really interesting because, Stadium is a whole beast on its own. Like to this day, I will still stand by the fact that that could have been what Overwatch was, or that could be what Overwatch 2 was. And yeah, people would miss Overwatch 1 if that were the case, but it is its own thing in itself, and it's impressive. It's overwhelming. If you think Overwatch regular is a lot, there's even more once you get into Stadium. And some of the changes they made with this latest relaunch, you could call it, does try to sort of fix some of that and onboard people a little smoother. But regardless, I hadn't really been into Overwatch for probably since dipping into Stadium. I never really got hooked by it.
Mm-hmm. So about a year, yeah. Just
Yeah,
under.
but I'm happy to say that with this latest update, it's all I can think about. I can't stop.
We are so back, as they say.
It's like last time they gave me my fix, but it the high wasn't as high, so it didn't hook me. And then this time they picked a new vein or something, and it's like, whoa, I got it again. I got the fix again. I'm back.
And so what was this injection that they put in this update? Why this update out of all the other ones? Well, if you bring yourselves over to the old YouTube video, you can see I brought up a JPEG of some of the announcements that they had here. Let's see if I can full screen this. Ka-chow! There we go.
Ka-chow.
I would say the biggest update is more or less that they are restructuring how the seasons work, and also their commitment to releasing new content, including the most important content, new heroes. So at this point, Overwatch was going to be their season 21, but they announced like, hey, for Overwatch's 10th year as a game, we're going to soft reboot it, and each year is going to be a new, I don't know, like series of seasons. And each year is going to tell a new story. Each season, we are going to get a new hero and a new bit of the story. And then after this year's over, we're going to restart at season 1 and go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. So this year, Overwatch year 10, year 11, I don't know how we're counting it, is going to be called the Reign of Talon. And the story we're getting is, I guess, the Reign of Talon. So far, I won't spoil it, but so far there's been some shakeups in the politics of Overwatch. More importantly, they are redoing how they release heroes. So instead of a hero on a map, they're upping the cadence. They're doing a new hero every season. But for this first one, we are starting with 5 new heroes. Those heroes being Jetpack Cat, Anran, Domina, Amre, and Mizuki. And right there is already the injection the game needed to get people in. Because I don't know about you, there are seasons that come out, you see the new hero, or a season that might come out, there is no new hero. So you're like, okay, well, whatever. And then there's a season that'll come out that has a new hero, and you're like, I don't really care about so and so, like, not really my thing. Or like, I think one of Overwatch's challenges is like, I don't really play support, so I don't really care about this new hero coming out. But with 5 heroes dropping at once, it gave a lot of people a reason to jump back in and check it out. Plus all the new cosmetics, maps, and stuff. It's like, I was thinking about this as we went. It's like, because along the way, Overwatch has been updating. I clicked into one of my other memes. If you're watching, it's a little treat for you. It's like Overwatch has been updating this whole time, but there hasn't been a big update for you to upgrade or for you to jump in. It's like when Apple releases an iPhone every year that has a new feature, but it's not a big new feature, so you don't get the new one. But when you do upgrade, you got all these new toys and bits and pieces to come with. Stuff like Stadium and perks is stuff that's completely new to people that haven't played 2-3 years since Overwatch 2. So that is part of the reason why I guess this is a kind of good jumping on point, because there is so much new stuff to check out if you haven't played Overwatch in a long time.
Yeah, it's funny that you compare it to the iPhone, because I mean that's a pretty good analogy, because for the most part, iPhones have been on a cycle of every second iteration of the current version is the one that really changes things. And even then, there's an argument to be made that they haven't changed all that much.
Mm-hmm.
But everything they announced says that we're now going to see these kind of more major drops, these bigger releases at the start of every, I want to say year, but at the start of their year, right? Which leads into the 4 seasons. I do wonder, like, what does this mean for the future? Just because with this season, they're dropping these 5 new heroes. They came out on, this past Tuesday, February, whatever that was, 9th, 10th. And then for the rest of the year, they're doing a new hero each season. But does that mean that, next February, we're suddenly going to get 5 new heroes at once again? Because if they don't do that, is that going to be disappointing? Because this is going to be the largest overhaul we probably see, because, another thing they did, they overhauled the UI itself. And they're not going to do that every season, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's thinking beyond today. But
I think that's a valid thing to wonder if we're going to go there. Like, yeah, what's the year after this going to look like? Can we expect 5 heroes every year? And are they going to be good? Like, and if they don't do it because they run out of time and resources, like, what do we do about that? Like it'll tarnish the image of the game already, the papery image the entire game had in the first place.
Yeah.
At the same time, competition is good. Like, I do feel like the reason why they are doing this is because games like Deadlock and Marvel Rivals are keeping up with them and surpassing them. Stuff like map banning and hero banning, or map voting and hero banning, that was because right away when Marvel Rivals came out, they had it. And, they won't admit it, but the timing is very suspicious.
Yeah.
Because they could have done it this whole time, but why wait until this game came out? So
totally.
The cadence of heroes is interesting, but competition's good that way. I feel like it makes this game, which already is very a very fun hero shooter, funner than some would say Marvel Rivals for these two Overwatch fans. Yeah, it makes it the preferred place to get this team-based hero shooter experience.
Yeah. Where do you want to go from here? Do you want to jump into our thoughts on any of the heroes? Do we want to talk about some of the other changes that they have brought forth with this new revamp?
Well, maybe I'll just conclude this top level section here, answering the question, is Overwatch in 2026 good again? Or is Overwatch in 2026 worth your time in Sunset Select's fashion? Is Overwatch worth your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5? If you want a high quality hero shooter with lots of depth, lots of things to learn, yet at the same time, it's easy to pick up. The concept is more or less simple as competitive games can be. And that has a huge community, lots of lore and characters to know and things to do, not just the core mode. Like, you can do Stadium, you can do Mystery Heroes, you can do Arcade, you can do some of the, people never talk about it, but the custom games browser, you can find something to play there.
Yeah.
If you want a package like that for free, then yes, Overwatch in 2026 is 100% worth your time. just from the sheer amount of free content there is. And like none of it is gate kept. You get
Mhm.
all the modes, all the characters right away. Uh, yeah, there's just so much to do other than skins. Like, and I guess even the loot boxes are free, right? But you can't
Mhm.
even buy them. Like, I can't see a reason why, if you were looking for this type of game, you wouldn't try Overwatch. So Overwatch is worth your 2026.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Although I'm sure I said the same thing when it came to Stadium and everything, whenever that was last year. Um, I think it's now more worth your time than it has been since, the early days of Overwatch. This really truly feels like a well, I mean, like you said at the start of the show, ironically, this feels like what we wanted with an Overwatch 2. When Overwatch 2 released, do you recall how many new heroes we got? I know we got Junker Queen because I played her in the closed beta, and she
No,
was she
Junker
was a
Queen
day
wasn't in
one.
the close bait. Was this Sojourn or was Sojourn before?
I
I think it
have
was
a
Sojourn then Kiriko.
I have a screenshot still of the like title card of the beta, and it was Junker Queen sitting on her
Okay.
throne. That's the only
Okay.
reason I
Yeah,
remember
maybe.
that. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
I
Honestly, you're
I would
probably
have
right because
said
the cinematic came out around the same time.
Kiriko was after. And who else did you say?
Sojourn.
Sojourn. Sojourn might have
Might have
it
been those
might have
three.
been
Yeah.
might have been those three. I feel like Kiriko was after launch, so maybe it was Junker Queen and Sojourn. But anyways, this truly feels like if Overwatch 2 had launched, making the change that they made earlier this week and introducing Stadium, people would have lost their minds because it would have
Mm-hmm.
warranted the two. But maybe that's a good segue into the biggest new change they made. They dropped the two. We are back to Overwatch.
I think it's almost poetic that they did
It
that
is. It really, truly is. It's like
because
the
yeah,
only way it could have been better is if they announced that Jeff Kaplan was back.
that'd be nuts. I think like the industry would like earthquakes would have happened.
Yeah.
It was shook everything.
EA
Shout
just
out to Jeff.
explodes. Yeah.
Hope you're doing well. Yeah, with the dropping of the two, I forget if it's the official dev blog or whatever that I read it, but it is like we are committing to the original vision of Overwatch, which
Yeah.
is a live service PvP shooter. For those who didn't read Play Nice by Jason Schreier, did you read the book, Jordan?
I did.
The Overwatch, the original idea, and this is like, I feel like this should be more common knowledge because it will bring a lot of understanding and peace to the internet. The original vision
And
for
peace.
Overwatch was going to be this PvP game, and then it will be done. It's a boxed product, and we're going to finish it. Then Overwatch 2 was supposed to be this PvE game where you play through a story and there's missions and all that. Then Overwatch 3 was going to be the Titan MMO that Blizzard tried to make for like 10 years at that point, back in 2016.
The Titan MMO supposedly became Overwatch 1.
Yes.
And then they said, we're going to boot this down the line and have these three pillars of Overwatch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it was like a crawl, walk, run kind of
I think
situation
that's exactly what they said in the book.
with this world. Around the same time, these things called live service games and hero shooters picked up a lot of steam, enough to be like, everyone's like, oh cool, Overwatch is the new hero shooter from Blizzard. Can't wait to see this game be updated years and years down the line,
New
just
heroes.
like Call of Duty, new heroes, like League of Legends, right? That's the basic
true.
example. Everyone can't wait for that, but that was never the plan, and there was like a clash between the community and as well as the developers and the vision, more or less, to the point where like I know Bobby Kotick is a piece of shit, but like at the time, if you read the book, he offered to give the team more resources, more money to be this live service game, and the team turned it down, which is like, looking back, you're like, why would you not do that? But it was never the original plan, which is kind of like where the butting heads on that side came in, the whole Activision Blizzard structure. So a little bit of a tumultuous development cycle and politics in the game as well, in the game development as well. But what came from that, the beautiful phoenix rising from the ashes that came from that, is now this live service Overwatch that I guess we will get for years and years and years to come. I love superheroes, playing as a team, getting that feeling that you timed your ultimate right with your buddy and then you win the team fight, you win the objective. Like, There's nothing better. Lots of games have that feeling, but not lots of games look like Overwatch and feel like Overwatch. So, yes, Overwatch is worth your 9 to 5. I mean, your 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5.
It's also worth
Play
your
it.
9 to 5 if you can do that. If you can
That's
spend your
also
entire day
true.
playing, go for it.
Might play some Overwatch from 9 to 5 tomorrow on my day off.
You got tomorrow off again? Didn't you have last Friday off?
No, I was working.
I just swore you're posting pictures at the beach or something.
What are
I don't
we,
think people in Vancouver work, do they?
No, we just drink our matcha lattes and wear Lululemon and go for runs and then complain about how expensive everything is because no one works.
Because no one works. Fair enough.
So where I kind of want to bring this podcast now, I think we kind of gushed over this game enough, Jordan.
Yeah.
We played a lot of the new Spotlight season, and folks, as you're listening, go play it for yourself. Go check out all the new toys and tinker around in there. There's a lot to take in. Like, even before the episode, I was trying to figure out, like, do we just rattle off all the new updates? Because I don't know, you guys can look that up online. There's other videos for that. I kind of want to ask, like, what more can Overwatch do given what we have? Maybe we can put on our developer hats and be like, okay, you guys put a lot of things in here. What more can we add to the game to make it more fun, more engaging for folks?
Classic. They need to add hats. Give every character a hat.
And put the hats in the loot boxes.
Team Fortress. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Just a little brain experiment. Let's kick up our feet. Keep it casual.
Okay. Keeping it cash.
It's because if podcast listeners, if you're listening, it is 8 p.m. on a Thursday night. Jordan and I are ready to play some Overwatch.
Yeah.
This is prime.
What
Overwatch
are we doing
time
here? Yeah,
we're just yapping. So let's see things they want to improve. I can kick us off if you need a minute there.
I would love you to kick us off.
I'm thinking about our friend of the show, French Dip Design Cameron. I'm watching him on his Overwatch journey the past couple days on his stream, twitch.tv/the French Dip Design, streaming in the mornings. He's my morning coffee Twitch stream, and I love that. So thank you, Cameron. But watching him, we got a couple sessions in, but man, there is a lot to know and learn about Overwatch. And I wonder if there could be a better tutorial onboarding.
Yep.
Dare I say, even a PvE mode for the people learning. PvE, like play against CPU kind of thing, where it really guides you, really handholds you, hey, this map, you're going here. Now, blah, 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 blah. Zarya used her ultimate and missed. Or maybe Zarya grabbed you. You are Zenyatta. What do? You press Q and counter the ultimate. Not high level, but kind of how the game kind of works, where you're trading abilities, trading ultimates, and pushing with the team. It's not Call of Duty where you can run in and get 5 kills, or Valorant, I guess, where you can run in and get 5 kills and carry a team. Part of the beauty of Overwatch is this, everyone has a role. It's like football. Everyone has a role, and the play succeeds if everybody does their part.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'd like to see, perhaps for lots of new folks. Of course, it's not always going to be perfect. Things change, meta changes, abilities change, and all that. But I can see it as an option for folks coming in who might not have a friend like us to guide them through.
Yeah. That's a really good thought, because one thing that was very apparent from the beginning when we were watching Cam play and kind of trying to coach him through some of it, and you even jumped in for a match, and then I jumped in for a match. It was very interesting to me how differently you and I even approached a new person. You were trying to explain to him more about how the game works and about how to encounter or work through a situation in the game. Like you said, you described it as a football match. You have all the pieces, you just need to execute, right? And Overwatch really, truly is a game about that, where you are a team, you are going to clash with the other team, you want to win that single fight, and then reset and regroup, heal up, whatever, wait for them to come back to you, win that fight, and reset. And it is really a game of those encounters, right? And I don't think people typically think of it that way. But of course, you and I both have such a history with the Overwatch League that I almost think we think of it a little more intensely than a lot of people. A lot of people, you're just playing. You go, you fight, you die, or
Press
you don't.
W.
Exactly. Press W, press E, get kills. And then when I was with Cam, I was a little bit more like, we went into a Mystery Heroes match and he was getting different characters. And I was trying to help him with, okay, so now you're this character. Here's what that character should do. Here's how that character plays, right? You got a support character. So you probably want to hang back. You want to let your tank go out in front. You want to let your DPS kind of be in the middle. And you want to support them more than you're focusing on the enemy for the most part. Obviously, that depends on the character. Things like that, or just even diving into the abilities. But the big thing is, this game is 10 times as complicated as it was at launch, right? Yes, they have simplified things. They've streamlined things. I think about something like Mercy and her super jump, which has always existed in the game, but was technically a tech that you could do and technically a glitch in how she controlled. But if you knew how to do it, you could basically make Mercy do this insane jump. That's now a thing in the game where you use an ability and you press a button and you go shooting into the sky. Mm-hmm. Right. So they've fixed things like that or made them easier, streamlined them, like I say. But at the same time, there's 20 new characters or however many it is, there's, I don't know, we went from having 7 maps at launch. There's got to be probably 20 now. Again, I'm pulling most of these numbers out of my ass. But the point is the game has changed so much that it has only added layers of complication. One thing that I think could help with that sort of onboarding experience, actually 2 things. Number 1, we just played probably a week before this major update. Do you recall what game we were playing that we played together? That I actually sunk probably 10 hours into across console. Yes, across console and PC. Highguard came out a week or 2 before this drop, and you and I played it together. I think you had a little bit more mixed feelings than I did. Like I say, I probably sunk a total of 10 to 15 hours into it across console and PC. I was actually getting really into it and really enjoying it. And what happens as soon as you boot up that game, it forces you to do the tutorial because they knew releasing that game, this is a different style of this PvP game, right? They called it whatever it was, a hero raid
PvP shooter.
Yeah. So they knew they needed to onboard you like that. And I think in 2016, when Overwatch came out, it was there was TF2, Team Fortress 2, and then there was Overwatch. And Overwatch really took most of the game modes from TF2 or from other popular shooters and just made it their own flavor. It was pretty common knowledge. Hey, you're going into this match. Here's what you need to do. You have heroes. Here's their abilities. But I think now, honestly, hero shooters have changed and they tend to lean a lot more into the guns, into the shooting. Apex leans a little more on the Battle Royale. Valorant leans a little more into the Counter-Strike, which again is more of the point and click. And because of that, I do think that Overwatch still has this unique quality, but they don't do much to teach that to you when you first jump in. And that's why, you and I have both been coaching so much, or trying to, hopefully it's helpful, coaching so much in these morning streams that we're both watching. There's a couple other people in chat. Shout out to Sup Jamil, I believe his name is. Even Davey has been helping out a lot too, David. But they could really, I think, learn from that tutorial that Highguard forced you to take, right? If they implemented something like that, it's almost what you're talking about, right? Having a PvP guided CPU match where it shows you, hey, we're going to give you, and maybe they start you on tank, they give you Reinhardt. And they say tanks are vastly different, but Reinhardt is a pretty simple, straightforward tank. Here's what the role of tank is. And then they say, there's other tank characters. Each has unique abilities. Now we're going to move you to a simple, straightforward DPS character. And maybe they give you Emre, one of the brand new characters, but he's a very simple character. He's very point and shoot, similar to Soldier, who we know from the dev cycle. Soldier was put into the game to bring Call of Duty players in. They've literally talked about the fact that Soldier plays the most straightforward as a point and click shooter because Call of Duty was so big and they wanted people coming from Call of Duty to be easily onboarded into Overwatch. So maybe they give you an easy DPS like Emre, and then maybe they give you a second one like May or something like that, who's a little more complicated. Guy. Yeah, Junkrat, or go crazy. Give them Farah, like a character that literally flies, and then give them a support character. Start them off on Mercy or Moira, someone who's easy to understand, who's got a lower bar to entry, and then give him a complicated one like a Lucio, who's bouncing off walls and flying around and skating everywhere, right? So I do think that they could definitely benefit from, that
just
simplifying that
very
onboarding.
handholdy, like
Definitely,
like shoot this kind of thing,
Yeah.
like because it is like, I don't know about you, kind of frustrating when you see new folks play, and not necessarily specifying like Cam, but
Screw
any
you,
new
Cam.
folks play. No, we appreciate you. Thank you for letting us use you as an example today. Your paycheck will be in the mail. Like playing it, and then like genuinely, I'm here to get frustrated because tons of lights are flashing on your screen. You don't know what your character can do. There's people sneaking up behind you. There's like a cat in the top right that just keeps, and you
keeps
don't
diving
even,
you and scratching you.
yeah, exactly, and you don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
That gets frustrating, and then that gets people to fall off from the game. So I think like a really handholdy, guided experience, so that all new players can at least have an idea of the pacing of the game and how the game kind of works, I think would be really beneficial. Just my 2 cents. How many Hello Kitty skins do I need to buy to get that in the game?
To fund an onboarding.
Yeah, that's, I mean, other than that, just keeping like things interesting. But I feel like they are doing enough interesting things each week. The whole Overwatch versus Talon voting thing this week is kind of interesting. I hope they do more like weekly events kind of like that, because our fast-paced world, you got to do things like that to keep people engaged. I'd love to see more of that in the future.
Yeah, limited time events, LTE.
Yeah. What game? I got into a lot of LTEs. Oh, Marvel Snap, when they're always like, here's a new card, earn it within a week. And then let me check how many hours
grinding
of Marvel
for it.
Snap I have. Like at least 1,000 for sure.
And you just reminded me that there's one in Pokemon trading card game right now. Just started this morning that I got to play through to get 5 cards that I don't have. So.
All right, get on it, Jordan.
I'll have to.
Do you have anything else that you think the game would do really well with? Anything you want to add to the game, I guess?
That honestly, that was such a good call.
Thank you.
Talking about the onboarding and everything like that. Outside of that, I mean, I truly don't know what I would add to the game. The big thing is, everyone's gut is to say, well, PvE, right? That was the original promise of Overwatch 2.
Yeah.
And I do think that, us old heads need to let that go. It's not coming back.
I bought the PvE. It wasn't that good.
Look, I did too. I have been happy to spend money on Overwatch when I feel it's warranted. I bought the original game, of course. I paid for the like full special edition, whatever, when Overwatch 2 came out.
Oh yeah.
And then when they did the pig where they did release those story missions, I paid for the full, whatever it was, special edition like version of that
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And I was happy to give them that money because at that point I had been playing this game for 8 years. Like, even in total, if I spent $100 each time, that's $300 over 8 years. Like, that's some good ass value, and I can still play it, right? And on top of that, I can now get it on every platform because it's free to play. I can create as many accounts as I have email addresses, although, I might run into authentication issues with needing a mobile number to prevent smurfing and stuff, but that's another thing. Anyways, the point is, I think people need to let PvE go, although I will always lean on the fact that, yeah, it'd be awesome if they put in a and I will always come back to single player. If they did a single player story mode, I think that is the PvE people want. People think they want to go 4-person co-op PvE events like they did already. And I just don't think that did enough. I don't think anyone cared, right? That's why it went away. That's why you can't even get it anymore. But if they did a single player guided story, tell the narrative you want to, just like how Call of Duty comes out and has a single player linear story, release that. I mean, as I would assume you'd give me different characters. You'd put me in Reinhardt's shoes for an hour. I'd do some cool stuff with Reinhardt. Then they'd move me over to Tracer. Then they'd move me over to the Talon side and I'd play Vendetta or something like that, right? That'd be cool. And now that I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah, I still want this stuff. But at the same time, I'm also saying we need to let this go. This dream is never happening.
Let me,
So
yeah, Jordan right now. Meet the Jordan from 2 minutes ago.
exactly. Here, I'll do the Kermit meme with the hood
Yeah.
up and talking to himself. Let go of PVE. Don't let go of now. Talk for 20 minutes about how much you want PVE. But anyways, yeah. Honestly, big thing that I would love to see, and this isn't anything new, is more crossovers. I
Mhm.
want them to go absolutely crazy with the crossovers. Some of the crossovers we've seen already have been crazy. I don't need to, I don't need to highlight them all, but like there's a Hello Kitty one right now, which is
That one's insane.
bonkers.
Yeah.
They've done. I was telling another friend of the show, Gianni, was watching my stream last night, twitch.tv/Sir Dr. JM. And I was just kind of showing him some of the skins, and we were talking about the crossovers. And like, there was a Persona 5 crossover years after Persona 5 came out. There's a Hello Kitty crossover on right now. There was a Street Fighter crossover. There have been multiple anime crossovers, like One Punch Man, Naruto, no, Avatar, The Last
Yeah.
Airbender has had one. There was a Transformers crossover. Like, they've done a really good job, I think, pulling random IPs for these crossovers. But I
Yeah.
do want to see them continue with that, right? I will always say, and I've said this about Fortnite, and I will always say this about Overwatch, give me a damn One Piece crossover. I want One Piece in every aspect of my life because I'm a One Piece sicko now. But, you know, there's just a whole world out there. I don't need to theorize or tell you that I want a Kingdom Hearts crossover because everyone knows that. How cool would it be to get a Pokemon crossover or something like that? But anyways, yeah, crossover. I'd like them to go a little crossover crazy. That's probably the
I
one way
mean,
they'd actually get my money consistently. But
that's probably why they keep doing it, because it's working.
true, yeah,
I think my
you're
buddy's
right.
still rocking the Transformers skin.
And they're so good. There's such a
Yeah, they are
quality to
all
the
really well
skins,
done.
right? So
There's this was your wish in the last Overwatch episode we did in 2025. More crossovers. And since then, we still
not
haven't gotten
surprised.
our One Piece crossover, but
I know.
I feel like most of these will hit Fortnite first, and then
Yeah,
they'll sprinkle out to the other games. So I
yeah.
did see, or did hear along the grapevine, that a certain anime of your liking is coming to Fortnite. So
I
hopefully,
have. I've seen the
not soon
rumors.
after.
Yeah,
Hopefully, Overwatch soon after.
yeah, totally.
Well, those are kind of our wishes, wants, and celebrations for Overwatch so far. We really want to keep playing, grind that battle pass, get all the new cosmetics that I haven't gotten yet. I need to finish my Juno skin, but man, those Hello Kitty skins are calling my number, and it is payday, so might have to swipe the card. Let me open up my bank app after this.
Right on.
Another thing happened today. But before that, I want to tell you about our sponsor. Our sponsor being us, growuplevelup.com. If you have been enjoying the show and you want to support Jordan and I's antics, whether it's on Overwatch, whether you want to buy me the Hello Kitty skin package, or if you want to just support the show, you can go to growuplevelup.com and pick up a Grow Up Level Up hoodie and rep the merch around town. You can get a t-shirt, you can get a sweater. That's all we have for now. I might put up a hat very, very soon. Now, if you can't afford a hoodie, times are tough. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, share it with a friend. That's more than enough for us. We just want more people to hear about the good word of Grow Up, Level Up. We don't always just talk about what's the hottest new game in town. We also do really cool interviews, like last week's interview with Kayla, talking about games and books and how they all intersect and relate. Or a couple weeks ago, talking to Kevin Deere, who organizes the Battle of BC, which is the biggest fighting game tournament in Canada. So go check it out. Speaking of big games, we do like to cover big games sometimes, though, Jordan. And a really cool event happened today called the Sony or PlayStation State of Play.
That's
Can you
right.
tell me what it is?
The State of Play is, of course, Sony's recurring, I don't know what to call it, online presentation. Think Nintendo Direct, think any of those press conferences that they like to do. This was I believe it was called a partner showcase. So it was all focused on.
I thought it was a State of Play.
It was a State of Play, but it was a partner showcase State of Play. So it was all focused on third parties and the games that they are bringing to the PlayStation platform, of course.
This was an hour-long presentation that happened earlier this afternoon, and I watched it. I had it on the side as I was doing some other work. But man, this was a pretty hype presentation because I think every game on there, except for maybe one, piqued my interest. And
Yeah.
I don't even have a PlayStation anymore. Rest in peace. But there's some things where I'm like, maybe this is best enjoyed on PlayStation. We're not going to go through every announcement because that'll take up another 2 hours of our time. But I want Jordan and I to maybe pull up our top 1 or 2 announcements, maybe 3 if we have time. I know, Jordan, there's a couple that piqued yours more than mine. But do you have one that you want to talk about?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to bring up the one that they actually kicked off the presentation with, and that is Kena Scars of Cosmora. Of
Oh,
course, the
okay.
follow up to Kena Bridge of Spirits by Ember Labs. Ember Lab, I guess, no S at the end. This was a shocker because I don't think we have heard from Ember Lab since Kena Bridge of Spirits came out. And Kena Bridge of Spirits, I want to say, was one of the like original PS5 games that it was shown off as, hey, this is a new PS5 game coming. The game itself, I didn't actually play too much of, and it felt a little. It was a very pretty game. It played well, but it felt a little dated. Honestly, I felt like it felt a little early PS4, almost PS3 in terms of the action and the style. But there were these sort of glimpses that you got that, like, it was fun, but it could be something really great. And Ember Labs, I think, is actually known for their animation. And with this one, I think that really shines through. If you're not watching the video version, come on over to YouTube and check it out because we are showing the trailer right now. And man, oh man, this game is pretty. Obviously, I think this uses Unreal 5, which didn't exist when the first game came out.
Really?
But I mean, at least it probably didn't exist when they started developing it, right? So it would have been on Unreal 4 probably. But this one, it looks like they're just stepping everything up. They've got a bigger story here. They've got more going on with the gameplay and the action. It looks like in some cases they even have this sort of more open environments to explore. I mean, they've got this nature fox thing that you can ride as well. But it just looks like in every aspect they're going all out and taking it to the next level. So this game, I think, just looks fantastic and looks like
Well,
a lot of fun.
it looks like a Pixar movie like this.
Yeah.
I'm watching the trailer and yeah, you could tell what's gameplay and what's cutscene, but the line is so blurred. Like there's certain facial animations and the way the hair looks and all the little details that dingle and dangle around all the characters is like, yeah, this looks like a pre-rendered kind of scene, which is nuts that we're here now. Of course, like the bar can always go higher, kind of thing. But for now, this is definitely one of the most impressive games I've seen, just because it picked like a really smart art style, looking like a movie, and they are really leaning into it and kind of mastering it. So good pick, good pick. Oh, look at that cute guy.
Yeah, there's some really cute aspects in even the first one, and I also really want to shout out, like you said, the art style of this game. I think it really does stand out, really is unique. It's got kind of a cartoony look to it, but I think nowadays a lot of things that have a cartoony look end up being called a Fortnite look, and it somehow distinguishes itself from that. So
very cool. I love it. Now, speaking of interesting art styles,
ooh,
my pick of the show that kind of got me to perk up is Project Windless. Now it's hard to tell what's pre-rendered and what's not.
Is this the rooster?
This is the rooster game. I'm gonna skip ahead in the trailer. There's a lot of build up. But at first it was like, okay, the game looks very pretty, but what is it? A little gory. And then about halfway through the trailer, you find out that you are playing as this like 8-foot tall, jacked out of his mind, rooster headed warrior fighting hordes and hordes of monsters in like this almost like Asian myth inspired world. So there's a lot of things going on for sure. But it's got that power fantasy goofiness that I kind of like the fact that you're playing as a big chicken slashing all these little enemies and fighting weird monsters. yeah, this one is definitely like, of all the things that I didn't know I wanted. I didn't know I wanted a big chicken game that took place in like Lord of the Rings or whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, this game really stood out again. And it's funny because I feel like ever since we had the, Black Myth Wukong, whatever
Mm-hmm.
announcement and everything like that, there's really been this kind of, um, I don't know, burst of Asian mythology inspired choices and influences in games. And it really does come across in some of the beasts that you see here and everything. Even, I mean, the rooster and the zodiac and everything like that kind of.
Oh, is that what it is?
And then that's what I took it as, at least when I first saw it. Although I will also say, when I first saw the giant chicken, my first thought was Family Guy.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't know why
yeah. I
more
can see
people
that.
aren't saying that, but that is the rooster from Family Guy, just with swords. So,
Yeah, they made a game
anyways,
out of it.
that's right. That's right. But yeah, another really cool looking one. And honestly, I love that we're seeing these Asian influences and mythologies kind of come to life. I mean, for the longest time, it feels like forever we've been fighting against Greek gods and things like that in games. Even when God of War went to Norse mythology, that was kind of a breath of fresh air. But now it feels like the new sort of flavor of the week. But like for the past maybe a year back, and this upcoming year, it's more focused on Chinese mythologies and things like that. And I'm excited to see where that takes us. It's cool. It's cool learning about these things.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Like, even though like I've heard about all these things growing up, being like Chinese myself, I'm not that versed in it. All
Yeah.
I get are like TV movies. But it is cool. Like, there's a whole new generation of people making adaptations and new stories based around this. So
Yeah.
very cool.
I feel like when you're growing up, like learning about the Greek mythologies makes sense. You learn about that in like grade 6 because of the Olympics, and there's a lot of those influences that are
True.
in Western culture are in our everyday lives.
True. True. True.
So that is a logical leap. Another logical
Mhm.
leap is that the next thing that I want to shout out is the 2 God of War announcements that we got at the
Okay.
tail end of this. So my first pick was the very start of this state of play, and my last pick will be, I think, what closed us off. And yeah, they announced a original God of War trilogy remaster. So God of War 1, 2, and 3 remastered, or remake. I believe they used the term
Remake. Yeah.
remake, which is not a remaster, of course. We got those back on the PS3. But I'm very intrigued by this. As someone who was like 16, 17 when God of War 3 came out, I was like primed for tearing Zeus's head off or tearing
For
Helios's head off. And
man
yes,
stuff.
exactly. I loved that Kratos got to be in a hot tub with some chick's boobs out and have a 3-way in a bed, and you get health from
Crazy.
it or whatever. And that was
How
my
sinful.
jam. Yeah. So these games, although like if I played them as an adult, I don't think I would probably look back on them as fondly because I'm not huge on like the action genre. They have a special place in my heart. So I'm curious to see if there are any bigger changes. I will stand by the fact that I think God of War 3 was a fun game. I remember really liking the different weapons they give you and sort of the environments that they work you through. And God of War has that spectacle element where you take on, a Titan. You fight Kronos, who's, 1,000 times as big as you, or Gaia or
Mhm.
something like that. So
Yeah, that opening sequence is nuts.
exactly, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing what these actually look like. How do they actually make them or separate themselves from the original trilogy?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I echo. Oh, yeah.
it's okay.
I
Go
was
ahead.
I was gonna say I echo everything you said. That was one of the announcements that I popped off for as well. Yeah, God of War, the original trilogy, plus the PSP games, Ghost of Sparta, I think,
Yeah, that was one of them.
hold like a very special place in my heart because it was, the first game I got to play it. I was like, "Ooh, I shouldn't be playing this. This is very violent, but damn,
Look at
is
the
it
blood.
cool? The
Yeah.
blood and the angriness." But yeah, it
Hmm.
was really cool, and it really is like a time and place kind of thing for the whole
Yeah.
games industry when video games are just for boys, and this is like boy stuff. So
Hmm.
it will be interesting what the remake looks like. Definitely a graphics overhaul. How much are they going to do it? Like, is it going to look like God of War 2018? Because that'd also be a very interesting reinterpretation of the game. Is it going to be third
Yeah.
person or like the third person over the
Full
shoulder
camera
instead of like
control. That could be
yeah,
wild.
instead of the isometric thing? Could be cool. Could be cool.
Yeah.
I think there's a
That
story
would,
worth telling there.
I don't know why I hadn't thought of that, but I was like, how are they going to change this game? Like the answer's right there. They just make it play like God of War 2018, but without, armor and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean,
If they did
the fact that they brought back the voice actor
yeah,
makes me
that's
think they're
cool.
going to redo a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was cool. That guy was suave as fuck. He was hilarious. I enjoyed.
I need to
watching him.
rewatch that clip. I just saw it on mute, but
He was
looks
very
good,
funny.
looking good. Now, I remember there was a little bit of beef that he had with when they replaced
Yeah, you
him
mentioned
for
that.
2018. Guess they worked it out. That's a long
Okay.
time ago, 2018.
Fair enough.
Now, the other God of War announcement, if you want to lump that in there, Sons of Sparta, which is the long rumored 2D God of War game that everyone is like, okay, but why and how? We finally got our answer. So, God of War Sons of Sparta seems to be a 2D, is it like a Metroidvania, do you think? Telling of the story of Kratos and his brother Deimos. So you've heard about this Deimos in other games, but you never actually learned or like saw who he was. Well, maybe you saw him in a bit, but also
I think you did. Yeah, I think he was in one of the PSP games.
Yeah. Okay.
You
yeah.
mentioned.
I thought we did.
You mentioned, which one did you mention? There's
Ghost
Chains
of
of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. I want to say Ghost of Sparta he was in, actually. I think you went to Hades and tried to save him, but you couldn't save him and he died or something. Spoilers. But yeah, this appears to focus on them even younger.
Yeah,
when they
were Spartans.
Yeah, I guess when they are still sort of teenagers learning how to fight and things like that, which is really cool. And I was looking at this on the store, and it does say that it's 2-player, which is interesting because I don't think they highlighted that anywhere. And yet, in the gameplay, in almost every scene, you see the two characters hopping and bopping around. And I'm a little bit like, oh, can you play this game entirely co-op? Because that's kind of cool. And I was surprised they didn't really say anything about that. But I didn't know I wanted this game until I saw it. And the Silk Song in me said, give me Silk Song, but in Greece. So I'm very curious to see, like, it was shadow dropped, so out today. It's $40 Canadian, I believe I saw, which means it's probably 20 or 30 in the States. So easy pickup if you can. But I'm excited to see tomorrow, once people have kind of gotten a chance to get hands on with it, what the impressions are. Like, I would imagine, being a Sony first party game for the most part, it's going to have difficulty options. You can probably tweak a lot of it so that, yeah, if you want to just breeze through it, you just breeze through it. But like, again, the Silk Song in me says, if it's like got some challenge to it, if it's like a fun exploration, good platforming, and then, finding your way through these environments and you get to a really challenging boss fight, I'm nervous because I spent over 100 hours in Silk Song, so it might be my jam. We'll see.
Okay.
But I'm excited.
I mean, I feel like as the resident PS5 owner, I feel like you gotta dip your toe in at least and report back. I am curious about this one. I'll probably have to wait for it to come to PC or Switch. I heard rumors of that as well.
There were rumors of that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to try it. I like God of War. Looking back,
me too.
Kratos
People hate on that original trilogy and angry Kratos, but I'm like, look, just take him for what he was. He was an angry man, killed a lot of things. Have fun with it. It's a video game.
It's a power fantasy.
Exactly. He's like a giant rooster.
Very, very nice. I don't really have too many other things I'm looking forward to in the state of play. The John Wick game looks really cool. All we got was kind of a cinematic, but I was saying to you off the air, like, my wife has been randomly watching through all the John Wick movies. So when I showed it to her, she's like, oh, very cool. And I'm like, all right, cool. We will be playing this whenever it comes.
That is the next game by Saber Interactive, of course, who just put out Space Marine 2. And I didn't play it, but everyone seemed to love Space Marine 2. And Saber Interactive also has a bit of a knack for like taking other people's IPs and putting out games. They also, I was looking at their catalog, they were the ones that did like the Evil Dead game. They're doing the Hellraiser game. They did a Ghostbusters game. They have like done tons of stuff with other IPs. I mean, Space Marine isn't their IP either.
Yeah.
But yeah. So looking
Cool.
forward to seeing what that turns out to be.
Consider my hyped a little more peaked then. Heck, high peaked. Well, what did you think of the Sony State of Play, listener to PlayStation State of Play? Let us know in the comments below. I thought it was overall, yeah, super hyped. It made me super jazzed up about PlayStation. I'll get one back one day. They got to release like, I don't know, really slim one or a handheld one. That'd be nice too. But I was really excited for that. Jordan and I have to hop off and play some Overwatch. It is Overwatch o'clock, as they say. But before we go, I want to let you know that you can find us every Friday at Grow Up Level Up on all the socials, especially here on YouTube or on the Spotify podcast that you're listening to or whatever podcast service you're listening to. We post every Friday an episode highlighting either our Sunset Selects, being our game picks of the week, or an interview with somebody interesting. Of course, go back in our catalog, check out the past interviews that we did. They are all awesome. Now, if you want to keep up with Grow Up Level Up, like I said, follow us at Grow Up Level Up on all the socials. You can follow me at SamsonXP on all the socials, at SMSN on a Blue Sky. Jordan, where can people keep up with you?
You can keep up with me on all socials at Sir Dr. JM. That's at Sir DRJM. And of course, you can find me in the chat, twitch.tv/French Dip Design, almost every morning, it seems like. As well, you can also find Samson there. But I'm trying to get in the habit. You can also find me on twitch.tv.com/Sir Dr.
That's right. Jordan has been streaming more and more every night. Tonight, when you're listening to this, he might be on streaming something.
Actually,
Go
probably
over
before
to
you listen to this, but
no,
I guess it could be both. Could be
it
both.
could be tomorrow. It could be any night. So go check. You know what? Go to twitch.tv/Sir Dr. JM and turn that notification bell on so you know when he goes live.
That's right.
Yeah, live streaming is something, it was one of our goals for 2026. So definitely check it out there. Twitch.tv/Sir Dr. JM. And if you want to support our show, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if you really want to support us, grab yourself a t-shirt and/or hoodie over at growuplevelup.com. As we close out this episode, I always like to ask, Jordan, what are your wise words for us tonight?
My wise words tonight come from Kena Bridge of Spirits. You sense the power that flows through this land, yet you do not fully understand it.